Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In the previous video, we learnt about operators like and, or, not, like, between and in. Today we are going to learn one of the most important topics in SQL, that is functions. These functions are used to analyze the data, find totals, find average, find maximum, find minimum and much more. So guys, this topic is very important for interviews and real projects. So watch this video till the end, practice along with me. Let's get started. Now let us understand what a function is. Guys, listen carefully. This is very important for your interviews. A function is a block of code or a set of instructions which is used to perform specific task. In simple words, I can say a function helps us to do some work on data and give a result. Let me explain this with a real life example. So guys, in calculator, when we press plus, it adds two numbers, right? And that plus is working like a function. Similarly, in SQL, functions helps us to calculate, count and analyze data. And now many of you have this question, why functions? Why do we need functions? Because manually calculating data is difficult. That is when the table has thousands of records. So functions make our work easy and fast. Now let us understand the parts of a function. Every function has three parts. Without these three, a function cannot work. That is function name, argument, which is an input, return value, which is an output for that functions. Now let us understand each part one by one. The first one is function name. Function name tells us what work the function will do. For example, we have count, max, length function. Guys, you can see the function names aren't just random names. By seeing the name itself, we can understand what the function does. Here, count function will count the data. Max function will find the highest value in a given data. Length function will find the length of a particular data. Now, the second part of a function is argument, which is an input. Argument means the data that we give to a function. Here we have length of ename. Guys, here length is a function name and ename is a argument, that is input we give to a function called length. Here ename is a column in employee table which represents employee name. So ename is an input given to this length function and it gives the length of all the employees' names in that particular ename column. Another example, max of sal. Here sal is salary and salary is the input for max function and sal is a column, guys, and max is a function name. Now the third part of a function is return value, which is output. Here return value means the result given by the function. For example, if the name is Alan, length of this name gives 5. So 5 is a return value for this length function. Guys, here length means it calculates the number of words in a given name, that is in Alan. So the number of words is 5, so the length will be 5. Now I will give you a formula. If you remember this, you will never forget functions in SQL. Function of input gives output. This means we give some data to a function, the function processes it and gives us a result. Now we will see the first example, that is length of Alan is equal to 5. Here Alan is input, length is a function. The function name itself is length. So the length of Alan is 5 and 5 is the output. Now the second example is max of 100, 200, 300 is equal to 300. Here input values are 100, 200 and 300. Max function finds the highest value among these three and the highest value is 300. So the output is 300. Now let us understand the types of functions. Guys, please listen carefully. This is very important for your interviews. Functions are mainly divided into two types: user-defined function and built-in functions. User-defined functions are created by user. Built-in functions means already provided by SQL. For now, we mainly focus on built-in functions. Here, built-in functions are again divided into two types. That is single row function and multi-row function. Guys, the short form of single row function is SRF, and for multi-row function it's MRF. Now let's understand single row function. SRF executes row by row. That is, it works on one row at a time and gives one output for each row. Now let's focus on this diagram. Here one input gives one output. If there are n inputs, then we get n outputs. So we can say that the input count and output counts are same. Guys, length function is an example for SRF function. Now we will see a query on SRF function and see how it works. Now consider in a database we have an employee table called EMP, which has two columns, that is ename and sal. Now I am writing a query using length function on this table, that is select length of ename from EMP ending with semicolon. Now this is the output table which will be displayed once the query is executed. First row Alan, length is 5. Second row Jones, length is 5. Third row Alex, length is 4. So for 3 rows we got 3 outputs. That is why it is called SRF function, because we got 3 output for 3 input. So guys, please know this. Length is a function name, ename is an argument, output is the return. Now we will move to the multi-row function. MRF function executes group by group. In simple words, I can say it works on many rows together and gives only one output. Here in the diagram, many inputs combine and give only one output. Guys, max function is an example for MRF. Now we will see how MRF works using a query. This query is based on employee table called EMP, which has 2 columns, that is ename and sal. Now coming to the query, select max of sal from EMP ending with semicolon. It checks all the salaries and finds the maximum value, which is 300. So here 3 inputs gave only one output. Now I am going to tell you only those functions which are important for interviews. Guys, you don't need to remember too many functions. If you know these, it's enough for freshers. First, let us see important SRF functions. These works on each row separately. First one is length, which will find the length of a given string. Upper function, it converts text into capital letters. Lower function, it converts text into smaller letters. Substr, it will extract a part of a string from a given string. Trim function, it removes extra spaces, that is the spaces before and after name are removed. All these are SRFs because they give output for each row. Now let us see important multi-row functions. These works on many rows and give only one output. So the first SRF function is max function, which gives the highest value in a column. Minimum function, which gives the lowest value. Sum function, which gives the total salary. Average function, which gives average salary. Count function, it gives the number of records in a table. All these are MRF functions because they give only one output. Guys, this was just the overview of important functions. In the next videos, I'll explain each one with queries, so stay tuned. So guys, now I'm going to give you some practice questions based on today's video. I have also mentioned these questions in the comment section. You don't need to write the answers right now. First, understand the concept properly. You can save this video and use it for revision. Whenever you revise, come back, read the questions and try to answer them. You can also use the comment section to practice and discuss. This will help you a lot in interviews. So that's all for today's video. We learned about SQL functions, their parts, types and important SRF and MRF functions. Practice regularly and revise this video. In the next video, I'll explain the differences between SRF and MRF and then we will start solving queries. If you find this video helpful, like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel for more placement-oriented SQL content. Keep learning, keep practicing. Thank you and see you in the next video. Happy learning.